Hi, everybody. I'm thirteene, and we're going to be doing some Orzhov Zombies tonight. So, first and foremost, let's actually go ahead and say that I think this was a viewer submitted deck for Jeff Hoogland, the way it started off. If you'd like to check out more of this video, feel free to go check out his YouTube channel. You can just search for zombies here, and the top two results are the most recent ones. The mono black zombies that was originally submitted, and then his twist on black white zombies. I thought that they were both a pretty sweet deck and kind of wanted to give it a shot. I made a couple of changes, wouldn't necessarily say that they're all positive, but who cares? We're here to have fun and play Magic. So, what are we dealing with tonight? We are going to be playing Zombie Tribal. So, unlike Merfolk and Elves, we're not really trying to lord up our zombies. We actually don't even have a single lord in the deck. But we are going to be taking advantage of the new Undead Augur and the draw engine supplied to us with Gravecrawler and Carrion Feeder. So, Undead Augur reads whenever it or another zombie you control dies, you draw a card and lose a life. Then you actually get to take advantage of this with Gravecrawler, who you can repeatedly cast from the yard, as well as all the additional zombies you can cast from hand. Gravecrawler being 1 mana, and then being able to sack it to Carrion Feeder and recast it means for 1 mana you essentially get to draw a card and lose a life. We do have a couple of different ways to gain life in the deck, but they're not going to come up all that often. We also are running the fan favorite Geralf's Messenger. This is just a fun card. I know G-Burn, who's been doing a couple of standard videos for us on Squirrel Dealer, runs this in a Solemnity deck. We can use Geralf's Messenger with Yawgmoth to actually get infinite drain. At the current rate that we have it, you're going to pay 1 life to drain your opponent for 2. But with 2 Geralf's Messengers, you can put a -1/-1 counter on it to negate the +1/+1 counter from Undying and alternate between counters and sacrificing for infinite. We also have the Amonkhet black-white zombie that lets us gain a life whenever a creature enters the battlefield, and in that case it is infinite drain. It does target the opponent, so it's not overly the best, and Yawgmoth's second ability doesn't really do too much for us, but still a fun combo that we can get to. On top of that, we get to play with Eldritch Moon Standard All-Star Crypt Breaker. Crypt Breaker allows us to tap zombies to draw cards, so if our graveyard gets shut off, we still have a draw engine going, as well as being able to pitch bad cards in order to make zombies. Then, last but not least, we're going to be running Stitcher Supplier, Tide Hollow Sculler, and Path to Exile. So, basically just value cards. We're going to be playing a shell pretty similar to Hogak, but without all the bad Hogak cards like Vengevine and Hogak. Giant sarcasm there if you couldn't tell it. Those are very good cards. We're going to be playing a little bit of a lower to the ground, more value strategy. We're not going to be using the regular cheese. We're a little weak to graveyard hate, but we are running Path to Exiles and Inquisitions to interact with our opponent. Tide Hollow Sculler notably has 2 triggers, so if we actually sacrifice it with the trigger on the stack, it's a permanent exile. Otherwise, it's a 2 mana Kite Self Freebooter that's a zombie, also on the ground. Yeah, and that's the deck. So we're hopefully going to be able to zombie some folks out. Again, just because this is a little bit of a weaker version of the best deck in Modern at the moment, we're probably going to get hated out on a couple of different fronts, but excited to give this one a shot. And again, if you enjoyed it, feel free to go check out Jeff Hoogland's videos. I know not everybody's a huge fan of him, but there are some pretty good showings for this deck, and it looks fun to play. You get an aggressive start with just the tribal aspect, and then you actually get to grind it out. We are a little soft to Plague Engineer as well, but kind of the cost of doing tribal. Zombie Tribal is also a fan favorite. Like, a lot of people played kitchen table Magic with Zombie Tribal. Like, I know it has a soft spot in a couple of people's hearts, but looks like we finally got our match, and let's go ahead and give this a run. Yargle! Single land, but we have our engine. Oh, that is so tempting. That is so very tempting. So, if we whip on lands, we can cast at least 2 zombies, and we can start drawing with Crypt Breaker. Okay, what the heck. We're here for fun. Let's keep the 1-lander on the play. This is life. We tanked on that a little long, but what can you do? It's a single lander. We have 22 lands. We have a decent shot of finding one. We only have 1 turn to draw it before it matters, but we do have multiple 1-drops. And then on the off chance that opponent actually paths us, they're more likely to path the Gravecrawler, and Gravecrawler also represents 2 damage, so he's coming out first. Seeing as how we might need to start drawing Crypt Breaker's secondary effect is probably worth it to slow roll it a bit. And it's Zoo. Yeah, we're going to take the 4 damage. We can't really deal with a 4-3, especially with this hand. Land. Lame. Alright, well, let's clear the way. It's looking like it's burn/zoo. If we grab an Eidolon, we're pretty in the clear. Alright, so it's actually just burn. Opponent does have enough for the Helix. Looks like we're going to be taking 6, but that leaves us at 7. There's a couple of reasons we have Collective Brutality on the side, and this is definitely one of them. Losing life to draw cards is not the name of the game here. There's a Lava Spike. A land here for Scholar to grab the regular Lightning Bolt would be great. Okay. Given opponent's not on much gas, we actually might have a shot here. We are very low, though. Very, very low. Scholar enters, we'll steal the Bolt, and hopefully put them on blanks. Alright, looks like opponent might have whiffed there. Concealed Courtyard, that's beautiful. So I don't think I'm attacking with the Scholar anytime soon. If they have a Bolt, they're just going to bolt me in the face, block the Scholar, get the Bolt back, and bolt me again. So let's go ahead and send in Gravecrawler and see what we're dealing with. No blocks. So they're likely on blanks, but I really don't want to push it there. Drolf's Messenger comes down, drains for 2, puts an additional body on the field. Then we can attack in for 7 next turn. The fact that all these cards make us lose life aren't great. Alright. In you go, Disposable Zombies. Crypt Breaker's likely just going to be on chump block duty here. Oh, wow. So opponent whiffed pretty hard. I honestly didn't think we were going to take that. Collective Brutality, 100% comes in. We could probably have an argument for Leyline of Sanctity in our side. I don't really think that's correct, but definitely sure up this matchup. We do actually put a lot of pressure on the table, unlike similar decks that I play. I like to play slow, grindy decks that interact, and this one actually puts up a clock and grinds at the end. Yawgmoth seems pretty bad. I'm not going to pay life to do that over and over again. Then Wayward Servant will actually make the opponent lose a life and gain a life whenever a zombie enters the battlefield. Not a huge fan of Augur losing us life here. It is a bear, but I have to trim 2 cards, and the one that makes any of our creatures die and make us lose life is probably the cut. Can't imagine I need Pithing Needle for anything here. Could technically name a fetch land, but that's about it. Not bringing in Thoughtseize. Now, do I want Liliana? The other trim would likely be the Undead Augurs for Liliana. Liliana can't really kill any of their creatures, and picking up a zombie. Yeah, that's just not good enough. Alright. Well, hopefully 3 Brutalities will go the distance here. Okay. This is a double Cavern hand. Slightly awkward. Opponent's likely going to have to remove the Crypt Breaker. Need to find a basic. But I have a curve. Alright, Taylor, get some beats in. That's a path. So Crypt Breaker can't activate, and I'm likely not going to be trying to draw a card with it anytime soon. This smells like an Eidolon. Nope, Searing Blaze. That's painful. That's really painful. Stitcher Supplier. Yeah, I actually think we're on Stitcher Supplier. So opponent has 3 cards in hand. We take something with Tidehollow Sculler. They just bolt it and then continue attacking us. Stitcher Supplier at least allows me to get a Gravecrawler out of the yard. Yep, we hit a Gravecrawler. Carrion Feeder means that they actually have to kill Carrion Feeder. Otherwise, I'm just going to fog the attack and sack the Stitcher Supplier. Yeah, opponent's got to figure out what to do with their resources. They are running slightly low. Our life total is a moderately healthy 14, at least against burn. That's a Lavamancer. Hoping to draw a white source, otherwise I can just pick off all of our creatures here. Alright, Fog. Eat. Mill and Grow. Wow, all 3 Gravecrawlers. And 2 Grim Lavamancers. Alright, Pithy Needle probably would have been good. Opponent also doesn't have, like, any cards left. Well, Carrion Feeder can't block, neither can Gravecrawler. Right now, my considerations are Tidehollow Sculler, eat it with the trigger on the stack, and then permanently get rid of a card in hand, and Carrion Feeder will take 2 Grim Lavamancer activations to get through. That means I'll be taking beats from Monastery Swiftspear. Alternatively, I can just bring in 2 Gravecrawlers and start my own clock. This is interesting. I think that this is my best line here. So, Tidehollow Sculler. Triggers it, goes onto the stack, then we eat it. So, if you notice there, the trigger to return the card just went away, so this is going to be a permanent exile now. Assuming it's not lands, although they missed their land drop last turn. Okay, good enough. Opponent only has a Skewer. So I could see Swiftspear hit me, Skewer Carrion Feeder, leave up Grim Lavamancer activation. Okay, they're just skewering me. And Alpha. Alright, down to 7. Opponent has no cards left in hand. I'd love to find a land. Hey! That's a good deck. That's a really good deck. Alright, Stitcher Supplier it is. We found nothing of value. Let's go ahead and bring in a grave crawler. And I kind of want to leave the path up. Let's just eat the grave crawler. The 4 damage here might actually matter. I don't know exactly what I'm casting the following turns. But odds are I'm going to path here, Geralf's Messenger, drain them for 2. They go down to 11, and then I can sack 2 creatures to make this a 6/6. Attack with Geralf's Messenger. The math is a little foggy. I need to see what they actually do. Suspended a Rift Bolt. I imagine Grim Lavamancer can't get in now. Yep. Alright. Get rid of Swift Spear. Earbug. That actually is nice because that lets me cast spells off of my caverns. So 4 lands is 3 Gravecrawler buybacks. Alright, I'm on board. Not attacking with the Stitcher Supplier. I'd prefer to have it as a blocker in case opponent tries to Goblin Guide or something. Yep, that's expected. Two damage to me. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to unearth the Messenger. I was just trying to figure out if there's something I'd prefer. So, like, Crypt Breaker would allow me to tap. No, I don't really want to draw a card. Alright, there's the drain for 2. Then, at their instep, I'm going to eat Geralf's Messenger to drain for another 2 and make this a 4/3. Then we're going to be swinging back for 11. Oh, never mind. I just killed myself. So Rift Bolt goes to the yard, and because that Grim Lavamancer died, they can shoot me for 2. Alright, well. GG's opponent. So then being on Grim Lavamancer, I think I'd prefer Liliana over Pithing Needle, and we even had an Undead Augur in the yard with our draw engine, and that's just so bad. I think we might just need to look for a little bit of life gain. Liliana rebuying either our Singleton of Wayward Servant or any of the 4 Tide Hollow Scullers with the engine to just permanently exile is probably worth having her in. Also more likely she's going to make an impact on the play. Okay. So I'm going to start on Carrion Feeder so that the Tide Hollow Sculler trigger works. Then I can try to Inquisition on turn 3 with the Stitcher Supplier if I don't find a land. Otherwise, Geralf's Messenger's a real clock. No sideboard hate here, but this is fine. I really don't want to go down cards. We're going to try to make this as much of a race as possible. Then we'll see if opponent actually thought it was worth killing the Carrion Feeder. We did use it pretty well last game. But those Grim Lavamancers did work despite the fact they drew 2 of them, and that's not really ideal. Alright. Well, there's a Lava Man. Alright, that's slightly awkward. Is there any point to Stitcher Supply or try to find a grave crawler? I could sack 2 and get out of Lavamancer reach. Alternatively, I just Inquisition, let them Lavamancer, and then actually start gaining life with ETB effects. Alright, well, let's just do this. Burrow's Charm, 2 Helixes, and a Lava Spike. Well, they have the lands, so let's just get rid of the 4 damage, or the targeted creature removal. Since they actually don't have much creature removal, I think we want to go for that, although they still have an active Lavamancer. I did mess up the trigger. Alright, well in that case we'll take the Helix. So next turn is likely going to be the fetch land, shoot down the Tide Hollow Sculler, hold up Lightning Helix for my turn. I guess it'd just be Lava Spike, hold up Grim Lavamancer activation. Yep. Going for the pure damage. Really can't fault them on that. So I am going to eat this. No. Why would I do that? Eat. Sacrifice. No. Sacrifice that. Wow, Moto, that was significantly harder than it needed to be. Alright, what are the odds that I actually get out enough power? So I can Drolf's Messenger, and I can sack it twice to drain for 4 and get this out of reach of Lava, or Lightning Helix. Or I can just run out the Wayward Servant, Stitcher Supplier, have them kill the Wayward Servant. They have their land, which means that they get a Helix and activate Grim Lavamancer next turn. I think that means that I'm going to Drolf's Messenger and try to just bait them into removing my creatures. Anything pointed at the ground is not pointed at me. Then if they use Grim Lavamancer to shoot this, I just sack, and if they Helix it, then they Helix it. Otherwise, it can point a total of 6 damage to me this turn. Taking the play here was just such a huge get. It buys us so much more time. Found another Lava Spike, but that doesn't really do a whole lot. Alright, so they're planning on helixing something. That's nice. That's really nice. Alright, I want to get a sacrifice effect out here first so I can grow the Carrion Feeder before I start ripping apart their hand. I am losing value on this Wayward Servant by running out my creatures, but taking apart Burn's hand feels like it's high enough upside that I actually want to do it. Alright, kind of figured that was coming. We set up a ground state that was just impossible for them to get through. Wow! Alright, no wonder they were shooting our face. They just thought that they were going to take it for sure. Alright, and I am leaving the Stitcher Supplier back to fog a Goblin Guide. Missing the 1 point of damage here is probably a mistake, but we are technically playing against burn, and we have a bit of reach. We can also sack the Geralf's Messenger to trigger the drain off the Wayward Servant, so... Alright, you suspended Rift Bolt, but I don't think you're going to have that much time. And opponent only has a Lightning Helix left. Wayward Servant comes down. They're going to have to fire the Helix at the Servant. Actually, they might do it at Geralf's Messenger just to save the 3 life. But they get a block, shoot, or Helix. It's going to have to be the Helix. Opponent might get another turn. Oh, they're just activating now? I don't think that's right. Yep, that's fine. Now you're supposed to bolt Geralf. But I guess that's not happening. We hit for 4. We can drain for 3. Hopefully we find a Gravecrawler off of this Stitcher Supplier. We found a Crypt Breaker. Alright, so Undying Trigger goes onto the stack. It comes back with a 1/1 counter. We get a drain for 3. Leaving opponent at 2, and we'll keep a card in hand to just make them kind of keep guessing. They have to draw exactly Boros Charm here, though. And we may have pulled this off. Opponent gave us the GG. All right. That opponent said they're out of play points now. Yeah, I've actually been out for a while. I've been playing so many janky decks that I've had to use event tickets to buy into like every event recently. I feel the pain. All right, well, hopefully they give us back priority. Overall, though, pretty decent showing. We didn't actually draw any of our collective brutalities, which should show the fact that we actually get a race against burn. They ended up having a couple of lightning helixes, and we just picked them apart. They were able to gain the 3 life because they shot directly at us. They couldn't even shoot a creature because it fizzled. But yeah, pretty solid win versus burn. Hey, Seraphix, how's it going? Feels like it's been a little while. Overall, though, pretty impressive. I do kind of wish that Urborg, or Yawgmoth, was a little bit better. I mean, 4 mana is doable in the stack, but trying to keep a low aggressive curve. I suppose if you really wanted to, you could put a couple of Hogaks in here. It's pretty easy to cast them, but then it feels like a real deck, and we don't play those around here. All right, Inquisition, Wayward Servant. We only have 2 mana, but we have interaction. I like interactive hands. They at least make interesting games. All right, well, it looks... Okay, never mind. I thought it was going to be Bird again. It might be Phoenix. I've been playing so much Burn lately. All right, it looks like they kept an awkward hand. Yeah, baby, yeah! So they're a Faithless Looting deck. There is a non-zero chance that Inquisitioning them is actually going to benefit them. What I see going down is I Inquisition this turn, and then I Carrion Feeder and Path next turn, whatever's happening. So I'd prefer to try to disrupt them if they're trying to like squat on the back of a Faithless Looting or something like that in their hand. Why? Why do I play nothing but burn these days? Like it's literally nothing but burn these days. This is probably Mono Red Prowess slash Phoenix. I have a path for the Swift Spear. The bolt's actually going to deal damage. Light up the stage is the most amount of cards, and these are all pretty decent. They're going to make their second land drop, so the Faithless Looting's pretty much card disadvantage at this point. It is a possibility to get a Phoenix into the yard, but I think we're just on take the light up the stage and try to deal with a mediocre burn hand, especially since we had the Wayward Servant to try to drain our opponent a bit. We are just a Gravecrawler away from being able to essentially infinite mill out as much as we have mana to pay for Gravecrawler. Opponent just said, sorry kid, nothing personal. Don't know what to make of that. I guess that means they drew a Phoenix. No, they would have used it. Oh, they drew another one. All right, fair enough. You got me, opponent. All right, Carrion Feeder it is, and I'd prefer that they try to blow their load on this Phoenix, on this Swift Spear. Ooh, they have a Renin 6. Renin 6 will actually be able to kill my Carrion Feeder. That's slightly annoying. So opponent's going to play Stomping Ground, likely Renin 6, and bolt me. It's going to be 3 damage on the Swift Spear, so it is eating a path this turn. Alternatively, I can path myself in Yawgmoth. But then I don't have an answer for the Swift Spear. That's not going to happen. Pathing yourself is typically never a good option, but yes, we're going to sack it to its own ability. Huzzah! Gotcha, opponent. Alright, and they're keeping the Bolt and the Faithless Looting. Alright. Godless Shrine. So I can't multi-spell here. This is just going to be a Wayward Servant. Try to get some life gain out of the Undead Augur coming next turn. Although this is likely getting bolted, so... Really? And the Manamorpho. So basically, Phoenix confirmed. Renin 6 and Mono Red Phoenix is kind of interesting. I guess that turns it into Gruul Phoenix. It does make your Faithless Lootings better, and it also means that you'll be picking up enough lands that you can probably hardcast your Phoenixes. Blood Moon's probably also going to be a thing. Getting rid of Wooded Foothills and Manamorphose? Oh, that's pretty ridiculous. Not good when the free spell deck is just discarding their free spells. We also don't know their hand anymore. And a Bedlam Reveler. Alright, so opponent's on some spice. I can respect that. Ooh, the pain is real. Alright, well, this is a human, so I'm actually going to run out Yawgmoth for his very little known protection from Human's Claws. Just means that Swift Spear won't be able to get in unless they deal 4 damage to him. Protection from humans. Dang it, opponent's up to 5 cards in hand again. Yeah, this guy's gonna hurt. So if I back-to-back Geralf's messengers, then I can go infinite. But I'm still going to have to pay a lot of life, so probably taking a big enough hit that that won't work. We can find an Unearth for the Wayward Servant and shrink the Bedlam Reveler to the point it doesn't matter anymore. Oh, they found 2 Phoenixes. Yeah, probably just going to move on. Well, they've already activated Ren and 6. So they have the gut shot. Yep. All right, we're done. We're taking 16. All right. Leyline comes in, turns off Bedlam Reveler and Arclight Phoenix. Settle the Wreckage is an interesting inclusion. They're technically a burn deck. Collective Brutality comes in. Pithing Needle on Ren and 6 doesn't quite feel good enough, especially if we're going to be shutting down their graveyard. It's not what we want to be doing with our time. Path to Exile is just permanent removal on their recursive threats. What do I actually care about here? So I kind of want to keep the one of Yawgmoth. Probably isn't relevant enough. We're not going to be proliferating at all. And we're really raising our curve with some of these inclusions. Tidehall Sculler still takes their combo pieces. Undead Augur will grind us back into it, but it will cost a lot of life, so I could see trimming him again. It worked against Burn. Gravecrawler is our combo. Crypt Breaker's slightly awkward. Also dies to Gutshot. So, how does that look? Do I want the Lilianas? Liliana can kill nothing. Yeah, I probably don't want the Lilianas. It can stem a little bit of bleeding, but stemming on turn 3 is not a productive card. Alright, Stitcher Supplier into Undead Augur into Carrion Feeder, hopefully combo off, and we have Unearthed for turn 3 as well. We actually have ley lines. I'm going to mull for a ley line. Look at that. We're good at this game. So opponent is green, means that they probably have Destructive Revelries, or at least Ancient Grudges. Seeing as how we're a graveyard deck ourselves, it means that we're probably not on Grafdigger's Cage or Relic. Opponent also didn't see any of the more expensive lands like Caverns out of us, so they could think we're just budget. But because they're probably on Destructive Revelry, I'm keeping both ley lines. It's probably greedy, but it's still going to give it a shot. And Urborg is the most redundant thing that we've got. They could be on Force of Vigor, but they probably don't have enough green cards to support that. And we're going to blow our entire load on a 2/2 Tidehall Sculler. Okay, that is a thing. Opponent probably has a Bolt. Whatever, I have to get this out as soon as possible. Bolt, Bolt, Bolt. Never didn't have it. Alright, well, our sack outlet's gone. No value Faithless Looting. Opponent probably is digging for their enchantment removal. Yep, got rid of an Arclight Phoenix and carries Zev's expertise. That's spicy. Collective Brutality. Oh, they didn't have a second land. Okay, this is pretty easy. Gonna duress. Actually, no, I want to commit a creature to the board. This functions like a duress, but they had Veil of Summer. Alright, well, this is going to be the Faithless Looting then. It just sees the most cards and is going to pitch some of those bad Veil of Summers. Well, they got it. So they have Veil of Summer up and Manamorphose. Well, Collective Brutality is just going to enable the 2 Veil of Summers. They're probably going to start cantripping it in a moment here. Actually, is this only if an opponent casts a spell? Yeah, okay. Well, we might just have them dead on board in 3 turns. Of course I get a carrion feeder. Alright, well, I'm not going to allow them to cantrip. They kept a kind of mediocre hand, so they get to stick with their mediocre hand. Ooh, that is slightly awkward. I think that means I'm going to start committing to the board. Because they can cast Veil of Summer even if I haven't done anything to grow the Soulscar Mage. So I can't attack in, otherwise my creature will die. Alright, so there's a land. Did we hit anything good here? We did not. Okay, well, there's no point to attack. They're just going to eat my creature. They get a Veil of Summer to cantrip if they want to go for it, which they do. One Veil of Summer down. Alright, second Tidehauler Sculler's good. I am actually going to use the trick on this one. Assuming I don't click through it too fast. Veil of Summer here will still cantrip and actually make them hexproof. Yep, now you actually have to Veil of Summer. And honestly, them blowing this many cards on my turn is fine. It just means I'm not going to get hit for a lot. Wow, they found another one. I guess their deck is supposed to be free cards. They found the third Manamorphose? Shenanigans, opponent, shenanigans. This could have been a massive attack from them. Yep. You do you, opponent. The double Veil of Summer. Alright, so they brought a lot of Veil of Summers in. That's probably worth noting. Then I don't think I really want to do anything else. I can't attack in, and the Collective Brutality is pretty much a blank now. I can't tell if opponent's messing with me or if he's just like sad he's whiffing. You do your Faithless Lootings, opponent. I imagine they have to get a mountain. Yeah. Alright, that's a Ridden 6 that doesn't really do anything. I mean, they get to shoot me for one, but... I suppose that's fair. Alright, well, if they have a gut shot, they're going to get me here. But let's go ahead and drain and -2/-2, discarding the Leyline of the Void. And then swing in for lethal. Alright. Well, we did what we were supposed to do there. Settle the Wreckage still doesn't feel very good. Opponent's likely bringing in sideboard hate at this point. Don't think Pithy Needle really does anything. Again, Crypt Breaker dies to Ren and 6 and Gut Shot. Alright, well, we'll just run it back. Still helpful that opponent missed their land drop, but to be fair, they're playing a very explosive deck that requires some stuff to go off correctly. Veil of Summer is turning out to be a very powerful Magic card, though. It blew Brad one out when he was playing against Neoform. Is at least a cantrip and a prowess trigger if your opponent's on blue or black. I guess my discard got pretty significantly worse with that, but I'm still going to be casting a black card regardless. Collective Brutality probably isn't as good, knowing that they have at least 3 copies of Veil of Summer on their side. I don't know, maybe I want that over an Inquisition. That might be loose. That might be greedy. But we're on the draw, so it's more likely that Pithy Needle won't get stuffed as badly as discard. Maybe it's a Collective Brutality, just because none of the modes would actually be very good. That really does show the strength of the card, though. Mono Red Phoenix is essentially splashing green for it. Alright, well, this is our combo. So, yeah, why not? If we get blown up by their graveyard, we get blown up by their graveyard. And a Drelf's Messenger? It must be my birthday. Our life total is going to matter, and they could potentially be on Blood Moon. I'll just get a Swamp. And Stitcher Supplier is the one I care least about, so it can die first if they have a Ren and 6 here. Jeez, that even stops Drelf's Messenger. Alright, well, I have nothing to care about here. If they free spell, they free spell. I'd prefer to slam a Carrion Feeder and be able to eat the Stitcher Supplier. And a light up the stage. Alright. Yeah, they're going to get Spectacle either way. They hit a land drop and another light up the stage. That's a bad ley line. So, seeing as how I have a white source, and Blood Moon can shut me out, but I'm just going to go for my best line, which is Gravecrawler with Carrion Feeder. Yeah, that's fine. Stitcher Supplier will fog one of the combat steps. At the very least, they'll be able to hard cast the light up the stage, even if the 4 cards in hand are garbage. Which isn't very likely, but... Yep. Pretty happy I just let that happen. Oh, if this is a Phoenix... Show me what you got, opponent. I'm assuming opponent has to have Surgicals on their list. We never saw it, but it's a free spell, and they are running Ren and 6, which is actually quite expensive. Alright, they're getting at least a Phoenix back. I assume. Like, you've got to fetch and float mana for a very specific reason. I know this came off of a Manamorphose, but... You had to have had a plan for it. You got me on the edge of my seat. You Manamorphosed and Faithless Looting. There's no way you don't have an additional spell. I'm kind of thinking opponent has a bold and they're just trying to figure out where to shoot it at. It's a gut shot targeted at me. And they paid life for it. Okay. I mean, that -1/-1 counter would kill any of my creatures. I know I can grow Carrion Feeder, but... Oh, they're going deep. Well, that's going to be a pretty decent turn next turn. Alright, I have to take 8 here. I can't block with these 2 creatures. Alright, well, I'm taking 13. Or, nope, I'm dead. Alright, well, you got it. That was a pretty impressive showing for Mono Red Phoenix, but yeah, that was pretty rough. So they had 2 Swift Spears that were attacking in for 7 apiece, with the Arclight Phoenix swinging in for 3. Yeah, that was a lot of damage. Not much to do to get around that, though. Basically would have needed surgicals or just more removal. Right now, Bolt isn't necessarily in a good position, and I kind of feel the same about Fatal Push. Our deck is currently running 3 Path to Exiles, and I was really trying to figure out how to get a 4th one in there, but that meant cutting the Wayward Servant, and the Wayward Servant is our infinite combo with Yawgmoth, as well as being some life gain for burn. Path can take down a Hogok, a Phoenix. Like, obviously there are sack outlets and stuff like that, but it's a permanent removal spell when most of the format is Graveyard Recursion. It felt like it was good. Those are some pretty big 1/1s, though. Opponent free casted a lot of spells, and they actually had a really unique twist on a deck. I might actually need to look into potentially playing that, because the green gave them a lot of reach. Like, Veil of Summer was just a beating for me personally, so I might be overvaluing that, but Red and 6 gave them fuel for their Faithless Lootings. And it was a pretty neat combination. Alright, well, we have a Gravecrawler and an Undead Augur. We don't really have any way to kill the Gravecrawler, but we have half of our combo with this, and we have most of our engine. So game 1, let's try to Goldfish. Concealed Courtyard, pretty dang good. There's a Gravecrawler. Silent Clearing also gave this deck a little bit of reach, so you could go a little bit longer. Because we are so aggressive, it just gave us more draw outlets, and if our graveyard does get shut down, it's just a way to get aggro taken care of. Alright. I think I need to figure out what's going on. They're obviously control list. I'm expecting to Fairy in hand. But going off of a Misty, it could also be Infect. I'm just going to go steal a card and put a little bit more pressure on the table. Oh. Fun. It's Neoform Saheeli. Turn 2 is going to be a Wall of Omens that I can't get through. Ewit is going to go get them. Actually, this might be Podmom. It's more likely this is Podmom. Oh well. Oh no, this is probably the deck Saffron Olive was playing. There's so many options these days. Although Wall of Omens was in Saffron Olives. I mean, we're going to commit to the board. We're going to have an engine going. If we get a Carrion Feeder, we're going to draw so many cards we probably don't care about what they're doing. And draining is actually going to be super good here. So let's go ahead and... oh boy. They have Ojitai. I'm not actually sure I know what's going on. But we'll get 2 damage in. By all means, opponent. Block that too. I should probably correct this. So they have a... Yep, that looks right. Opponent has also missed their land drop. Maybe grabbing Wall of Omens is correct there. Odds are they're just going to Neoform into... they're looking for their land. So what are my options here? I can Wayward Servant and get a little bit more drain going on. I can swing in, hit for 2, get out another Undead Augur, although it looks like opponent's not going to be clearing the board anytime soon, and currently drawing 3 cards is pretty good. I can just Drolf's Messenger, and I think actually draining for 3 out of nowhere is going to be pretty good. Although if I draw a Carrion Feeder, I'm actually going to play this like I draw a Carrion Feeder and can just kill my opponent next turn. Which means Drolf's Messenger now. I should have done it post-combat, but whatever. Black and white don't necessarily have damage spells like Lightning Bolt. I won't be surprised to see Knight of Autumn gain 4 or Knight of Autumn pick up Tide Hollow Scholar. Gain 4. We want this on zombie. So they're actually going to block Tide Hollow Scholar with the Knight of Autumn more than likely. So I'm going to lead on Undead Augur. So if they block one of my creatures, I draw 2. I guess I could block the Undead Augur, but either way, that's still draw 2. Yep, as expected. Ooh, I had F6'd. Don't want to F6 here. Alright, Gravecrawler's fine. What are the odds I get blown out here? So if they Neoform, they can't get anything with haste. Yeah. Let's just commit Wayward Servant, and then if I find a Carrion Feeder, they're just dead. If they find a board clear, which they're a creature build, so they shouldn't have any, but if they do find a board clear, then I'm going to draw 10 and pretty much die. Okay, I didn't think about that. That's actually quite bad. Likely looking at Neoform options in their deck, though. They haven't shown us any black, so Plague Engineer's probably out. Another Knight of Autumn would kind of work. Alright, that's a Kitchen Finks. Okay, well, we have to Path to Exile the Kitchen Finks so that it doesn't die and they don't gain 2. Then I'm going to look for our win condition here, which is a Carrion Feeder. Didn't find it. Gravecrawler, drain for 1. And swing in for 11. Then if they even kill Drolf's Messenger, they just die. Or if I untap, I get a Drolf's Messenger. Oh, I don't think I played a land. Either way, Drolf's Messenger will kill them. If they figure out how to gain life, Drolf's Messenger with a Gravecrawler will probably kill them. Yeah, that's 4 damage. So Seraphix, this Dragon Lord Ojutai really threw me off, but I'm pretty sure that they're playing Neoform Saheeli. They also haven't shown us any red. Alright, That's an add bottom. You gain some life. I guess they could neoform the other Wall of Omens. I could actually see neoforming for a Resto Angel. That seems like something that's in their deck. Alright, Last Hope comes in. She can kill a lot of their creatures. They appear to be combo based, just from what I've seen. I like Settle the Wreckage in case they get a big enough board state. They're clearly creature based, and Dragonlord Ojutai has hexproof. Most of the time, at least. Ojutai? I hope that pulls up. Yes, it does. So it's hexproof as long as it's untapped, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player you anticipate. From what I saw from an opponent, I could probably expect an Eldrazi Displacer. Collective Brutality can actually finish off a wall. I kind of like that. Cuts, though. Inquisition kind of works. I probably don't want all the Collective Brutalities. Let's trim one of those. I actually don't care about the reach. It did become relevant last game, but I think Yawgmoth is just going to be a stronger card here. Stitcher's Supplier is kind of our gas. Unearth is going to be awkward, so they're going to have Remorseless Cleric as a neoform target. They also didn't show us any mana dorks. That's slightly odd. But I can see this being a grinding game. So maybe take out some of our explosiveness, and this is just non-land, so that can stay. This is going to be one of the few things big enough to get through a Wall of Omens. Carrion Feeder's combo piece. I don't know what to trim. Maybe it's just to Settle the Wreckage. It probably shouldn't be coming in. We're an aggro deck. I'm really expecting to get like Kiki'd out of them for some sick reason. Alright, whatever. Let's take out a Crypt Breaker. Alright. I think opponent also kind of kept an awkward hand last game. We flooded moderately hard, but that really doesn't matter if opponent had a really awkward draw too. Oh, dude, this is Fluffy Wolf. This is the first guy to ever raid me. Alright. Crypt Breaker, Gravecrawler, Messenger. We don't have any sideboard hate, but this works. Alright, well, this can activate the turn he comes down to draw a card. So I think I'm just going to try to put a clock on. Expecting a Wall of Omens next turn, so this is probably going to get stonewalled, but if I wanted to stream snipe him, I could. The Squirrel Dealer staff account actually hosts his stuff because he was the first guy to raid us, and he did it a couple of times. Alright, well, opponent just decided cantrip. And I think I'm inclined to do the same. Can't play anything else this turn, so I'll just draw it end step. Kitchen Finks. Perfectly acceptable. Oh, there's even an Undead Augur. I need to see what's going on. I don't know what Fluffy Wolf is doing, but I need to see what's going on. Alright, so Finks is mildly annoying, but Restoration Angel basically rebuys the Persist. Gravecrawler gets to get in. Yep, apparently Kitchen Finks isn't worth trading there. Perfectly agree. Opponent played their Hollowed Fountain? Yeah, they had two. I like drawing cards. I don't know how much time you spent around me, but I like drawing cards. Sure. Zombie. Oh, I should have Undead Augured. I thought I was going to draw Elf's Messenger and Crypt Breaker, but this attack makes a lot more sense with Undead Augur out. Well, I guess if they kill it, I just recast it, so that's fine. Right now, I'm kind of considering just Undead Augur, pitch the Marsh Flats to Crypt Breaker. But I only know about their Kitchen Finks. Yeah, I want this in hand so I can rebuild if something horrible happens. And then I'm pretty sure this enters tapped. No, it doesn't. Alright. There's an Ojutai. That's a good card. Get rid of the land that doesn't do anything. We're going to draw a card. Oh, and so it begins. This is what we've been waiting all night for, people. So we're going to sack the Gravecrawler. Always yield, always yield. Cast the Gravecrawler. May as well Urborg. Opponent shouldn't be using the black. Then we get to sack the Gravecrawler. Stitcher Supplier, cast the Gravecrawler. That's a path, so we have an answer for Ojutai now. Then I think that's fine for now. I want to leave the path up, so... And I have no good attacks now that Ojutai's out. Also, for anybody at home that doesn't normally run Urborg, Urborg with Silent Clearing is fantastic because it always taps for black. You can pay a life to tap for white, and you can still cycle it, but... Ooh. Okay, so is this going to be a Bellringer? I think Bellringer costs 3. I'm going to let them resolve this. I really don't care what happens to this. I want Ojutai off the table. There's the other Kitchen Finks. They've run out the other Hollowed Fountain, so they have a Temple Garden in hand. I don't know their hand. Alright, well, I guess that means I have to deal with the Resto Angel because I have plans. That plan is basically just attacking with the giant carrion feeder, but it's a plan. 3 modes? Yeah, let's see what's going on. I don't care about most of the cards in my hand. And honestly, these don't do much for me. Alright, just another Finks. So Silent Clearing is essentially free. Sack the Gravecrawler, cast the Gravecrawler. There's another Undead Augur. So if I actually did want to go search for my Yawgmoth and my Undead, I could. That's a little unfortunate. Yeah, let's Gravecrawler again. May as well. Wow, no blocks? I could have sacked my entire board there. Alright, well, no complaints from me. I'm still going to hold up another path, and I can still sack almost all of my creatures to try to draw into one if Ojutai does attack. That should be the other Finks. I like to draw cards. I think that's a sentiment everybody can get behind, right? Alright, well, Silent Clearing, again, lets me cast my Gravecrawler. I think I'm on Liliana right now. Just get rid of the Kitchen Finks with the Persist trigger already on it. I could rebuy back a Stitcher Supplier. Yeah, that's not worth it. Kill that dude off. Then, why not? Let's go ahead and Path. Just get rid of an additional blocker. And sure. Attack in with the 7/7. Yep, definitely had to block that time. Sack the Gravecrawler. I guess Gravecrawler should have gotten in as well. Yeah, this works. So we get to take a card out of their hand if it's a good card. It is not. And I think that means we're good to pass. Wall of Omens is a free redraw. It's also a free blocker for Carrion Feeder. That's a Carrion Feeder. And a Swamp. Alright, well, I think I have to stop damaging myself here. Opponent drew another land. Yeah, take out the Kitchen Finks. Geralf's Messenger is good, but they're just going to block with Wall of Omens this turn. Yep. And 7 health is not really healthy enough for me to want to continue going all out. Geralf's Messenger, drain for 2. I'm just going to sack it now. Make it come back, drain for another 2. There's a Knight of Autumn. They're going to get their Resto Angel back. They made it big? Oh no, they found out we don't have anything going on. How dare they find out that we have nothing going on? Alright, well, we know they have whatever they anticipate into in hand, and that's it. Oh, I guess Knight had to grow to not get killed by Lily. That makes sense. So this is when having a Lord would be nice. Even if I found Yawgmoth, I couldn't pay the life. I don't think I have lethal, though. So I have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12, 14, 16. Okay, I do have lethal. Assuming they block the Carrion Feeder. Okay, that means I don't have lethal. Brutality? That's a path. That works. Then I'm pretty sure that has them dead. I'm just going to -2 Lily, see if I find another Drolf's Messenger. Yeah, sorry, Fluffy. I wasn't actually going to try to bad manners you. I wanted to see if I had a Drolf's Messenger to make it safe. Oh well, beat Bant mid-range, I assume we're going to call that. That was a good showing, though. We drew a ton of cards. Like, we did what the backup plan of this deck was supposed to do, and it's the only reason I'm playing an aggressive deck at the moment. So that should really give you an idea of what I was aiming for. Again, coming back full circle, if you guys are new, Jeff Hooglin did Black White Zombies and Mono Black Zombies, and it had a really good showing. That's why we're even playing this tonight. And it's because of that grind value that actually got my interest. Okay, this is fine. It's nothing great, but it's fine. We look like a bad hand for Hogak. Zombie! Gravecrawler attacks. Whatever. Next turn, I'm going to be activating the Crypt Breaker, so I'll Stitcher Supplier. It's less likely that they kill that. Hey, we even found a Gravecrawler. Look at that. Alright, opponent is on Goblins. Interesting. Alright, War of the Tribals. A Path is a fantastic draw for us. Alright. Just going to get a basic since they are going to tax our life total here. And we can black that dude. We can black this dude. And start our draw engine. I don't think I'm going to path anything super early. If this is an instigator, I'm a little sad I didn't get white, but I don't want my life total to get taxed here, and I'm going to be drawing a decent number of cards. Munitions expert. Oh, haste. Okay. Yep, couldn't attack in. Yay, zombies! And look at that, we found white. We're good at this game. We even found more white. We're super good at this game. Alright, Undead Augur is going to allow us to draw more cards. Swinging in with Stitcher Supplier and Gravecrawler because they're the most expendable. They could drop a Chieftain next turn, but without an Aether Vial, it's not like we're going to be getting hit for a lot. Alright, well, this means I have to Gravecrawler so that I can actually tap the Crypt Breaker. Blue? That's just an off-color red canopy. But still, blue? There's a Krinko. Alright, well, that's a really good path target if I've ever seen one. And we're making our land drops like a boss. Okay, this is a 3/3, which means I need to path it if I'm attacking in. Which I am, so we get to path it. Then this enters tap, so I can't use it with Crypt Breaker. I don't want to trade Crypt Breaker for their Banneret. Actually, that'll still draw me a card, and we are definitely the aggro right now. Although they've had a slow hand. They're probably going to explode. I want to leave a little bit of defense here, so let's go ahead and just attack in with the Gravecrawlers. Then we can still draw a card. We get to drain them for 2. Have multiple blockers, and put out additional threats. And here we are curving out like a boss. Another Krinko, okay. That's pretty spicy. Well, the 3/3 Krinko might be a problem long term. Or we just draw Carrion Feeder like a boss. Alright, this is going to be... These will be blocked, probably by the Mog War Marshals that they get their Goblin token. I can sack this. I can sack this twice, so they're going to drain for 6. Which means everything but... Actually, I think that just means everything's getting in. Yeah, we should have lethal here. Opponent, I respect your Krinko shenanigans, but he's just a little bit greedy in Modern right now. I don't fault you for that. I play a ton of greedy decks. But you need like a 1,000-year-old elixir or something. Them killing my Augur here actually works out pretty well for me, given the number of things I'm about to sacrifice. Like, we're not going to come close to dying, but... Decides Krinko's worth hanging on to. That's fair. I assume he just wants to drop a ton of stuff, one of which is going to be a Goblin Chieftain, and then try to swing out for lethal on his turn. He's probably pretty close. But we got it. Well done, zombie deck. Well done. Alright, Gabos, Liliana, Last Hope, Settle the Wreckage, Collective Brutality, maybe Pithy Needle. They did show us 2 Krinkos. They also have Pashalisk Mons and the new Black Siege Gang Lieutenant. I don't actually know what it's called, but the Black Lieutenant. Sling Gang Lieutenant has an activated ability to drain. So the Pithy Needle is probably going to get some work in. Path to Exile is worse than Push in this matchup. Killing a Goblin Instigator is actually really important on turn 2, so I need the additional removal. Inquisition's probably bad. They're going to empty their hand pretty quick, especially if they end up getting a draw with Aether Vial. Unearth is probably a little bit slow. The Wayward Servant's cute. I don't think it really matters here. I think Yawgmoth will actually just win by putting a -1/-1 counter on things. But it is some life gain and some reach. It might be hard to get through all their little Gabo tokens. Opponent might be bringing in Graveyard Hate, so I could see Stitcher Supplier taking a cut or two. I don't think it's worth bringing in Disenchant yet. Depending on what they show us, it might be worth it, but... we'll see how this does. There's a wee bit on the slow side, but this is a turn 1 Gravecrawler with 2 opportunities to draw land into the Collective Brutality, and we have everything but a sack outlet for this engine. I think we can do better. I want at least 2 lands. I want to play a game of Magic here. Yeah, this is fine. We will ship back the... probably the Marsh Flats? No, let's make it a Silent Clearing. I don't want to pay that much life. Well, no Leyline from opponent. They got a Gabo with a War Marshal and a Thoughtseize. Probably taking Crypt Breaker. A little surprised to see that coming out of the side. Discarding the side is supposed to be for control matchups. Take Gravecrawler. You want to do it. Uh-oh. I guess we are technically a combo deck, so taking part of our combo is going to do something. I actually don't want to reveal the concealed courtyard, and it's not impossible that they're on Blood Moon, so I'm actually just going to go basic Gravecrawler here. We have all of the mana fixing that we need. Odds are I'm going to put this into play tap next turn, unless I draw a 2-drop. Hey, they are on Cavern. Okay, so they're probably playing... I don't even know, probably just Goblin mid-range. That's a carrion feeder. Okay, for those of you not familiar with this play pattern, what happens is I attack in with Gravecrawler, they block with the War Marshal, then they don't need to pay the Echo cost, and they have 2 goblins that can attack next turn. So what I'm going to do is just run out my Carrion Feeder, sack the Gravecrawler, make this a 2-2, and then recast it. There's no reason to attack in first because it just means I'm taking 1 more damage next turn and making it so that my opponent doesn't have to decide about the Echo cost. Yep. Odds are they weren't going to pay for that, so... None of my creatures can block. They can easily get in for 1 here, but unless they have a chieftain, I won't be taking this additional one. Oh, look at that. They have a chief. Alright. Well, I did everything I could, but sometimes it just doesn't line up. Okay. I kept that back for Gravecrawler, I'm assuming. Yeah, this is going to hurt, because next turn that means Krinko's coming down and making 4 goblins. But I don't have anything else to do, so let's swing in with my creatures that can't block. And slam a Geralf's Messenger. If they eat the Gravecrawler, they eat the Gravecrawler. They know it's coming this turn anyway. And I think they know my hand. But you play fast lands before they're not very valuable on turn 4 and enter tapped anyway. So with this trigger, I have opponent at a virtual 10. Ooh, this hurts. Goblins cost 2 less. Goblins cost 3 less. And a Krinko? No, Krinko costs 2. That can be a Krinko, though. So taking 7. Opponent has no cards in hand. I think that means I just have to go for Geralf's Messenger. I'm not very good at blocking. If I draw an Augur, I'm sad, but... Yep, that works. Canopy away. That's a brutality for 2 modes. I can get rid of a Lord and Drain. This can stay on defense, nothing can attack in. Okay, so there's some hope coming out of this. Although anything off the top, they basically get a free cast. Little, drain, little, drain. Godless Shrine is going to cost life, and I have plenty of fixing. That puts opponent down to 6, and I have a Carrion Feeder Gravecrawler combo and a Geralf's Messenger that can block just about anything opponent puts out. Krinko's still super bad, but at top decks, I think that means I'm ahead. They draw their off-color Canopy land. And found action? Oh, that's a Matron. Okay, that's bad. That means Krinko's coming down, and my outs are officially out. That was a really good draw. Yep, he's going to make 6 goblins. don't think I have any live draws. A Yawgmoth would let me... Um, uh, I honestly don't think I want to show that. So I attack in with these two. Sure. I think opponent had me dead there. They didn't want my Gravecrawler to die? I can just sack it. So I named Krinko. They swing in for 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 13. I have to block Krinko. I take 10. So I am technically alive here, so I better play it out. Krinko, my boss. And that buys me a single turn. I think Yawgmoth actually does get me out of this. Undead Augur probably gets me a little close unless opponent actually attacks me down to 10. That Matron was a really good draw. Is this the alpha? Token's getting in. I'm starting to think that wasn't a misclick from opponent. I think they just wanted a lot of goblins. That's a Crypt Breaker. Oh, the shenanigans are going to be so real. I don't have enough mana to actually do it, but the shenanigans are going to be real. Alright, we're going to tap this guy, and this guy. That's a Stitcher Supplier. Okay, nothing of value, so let's sack the Stitcher Supplier. Nothing of value. Oh, I wasn't supposed to do that. I was supposed to tap it with the Crypt Breaker first. Alright, well, yeah, I just punted that away. I could have drawn one more card. What would it have been? It was a Gravecrawler. Yeah, that wouldn't have made a difference. Does Unearth actually matter then? I don't know. I think Settle the Wreckage will just be a big enough blowout when it happens. We have the pieces for this. We just need to do a little bit better piecing it together. Opponent also had a ridiculous top deck. But you put Matrons in your deck because they're a really good draw. Okay, this is actually a really good hand. I think I want a Stitcher Supplier first in case I find a Gravecrawler. I don't think attacking for 2 to start is going to be that big of a deal. But finding another Gravecrawler will really set us off. Alright, well, I wouldn't mind a third land, and none of those were lands. Look at us playing goblins versus zombies in Modern like good people. Ooh. Okay, so that's a start. I can Undead Augur and start the combo, or I can just start the combo now and slam Undead Augur and draw a ton of cards. I think I like having the 2/2 in play. Then I can draw a lot of cards, hopefully draw into whatever interaction piece that I need. Tidehollow Sculler can also be a panic button where I try to take something if they start setting up for free creatures. Alright. There's a third land, so let's do this. Carrion Feeder. Send in Stitcher Supplier, see if they want to use the Aether Vial. Nope. Ooh, we found another Stitcher Supplier. What do I actually care about? I can permanently exile one of their 6 cards. All 6 cards should be action unless they have a third Aether Vial in hand. They can flash in nothing of merit on one that I'm aware of. Like, it could be Skirk Prospector, but that's about it. I think I'm just going to go ahead and commit to my board. Still nothing good. And a Gravecrawler. I might have been able to tack in with Undead Augur there. I really didn't want to lose my engine, though. They did have the third Aether Vial. All right. That's a Marsh Flats. Let's clear the way. And because I'm going to lose a lot of life to drawing cards, I do want to get my planes here. And I do think I want this to be a permanent exile, so with the trigger on the stack, I'm going to sack it. They apparently care about their 2-drop. It's a Marshal. Oh, I love the grind of this deck. And that's a Messenger. Oh, they drew the Leyline of the Void? That's rough. Alright, well, I don't think I actually care about the Thoughtseize at this point. I draw so many cards, I'd prefer they take the 2 damage, and multiple Krinkos don't do much. Goblin War Chief it is. Then that means that I'm just going to get in with all of my little dudes. I don't need to subject Augur to a double block. Opponent's got a slow enough hand that it shouldn't matter. Yep. You get your Gobbo token. We're just going to go ahead and sack this. Ooh, look at that. So we have a Thoughtseize in hand. I can find better discard targets. Let's just bring this back. And sack it again. Silent clearing, you're kind of being painful. So, depending on what opponent draws, they're basically on blanks again. We haven't seen any Lords out of them. Matron can come out and go tutor a 2 or a 1-drop, but War Marshal's probably their best card. Munitions Expert. Wait, what? Why couldn't I interact with that? Oh, I'm F6'd. That's my bad. And that's a Yawgmoth. Alright, so... what does Yawgmoth actually give me? I think it might be on Collective Brutality with Cryptbreaker and Gravecrawler. Just because I care about the Krinko in my opponent's hand now that they currently have 3 creatures. So, Cryptbreaker. Let's go to attacks. Yep, they were pretty obligated to do that. Then we're going to Collective Brutality. May as well 3 nodes. There's 3 modes. There's no reason to leave them with the Thoughtseize, so discard that and that. Then Gravecrawler. They have to top deck a War Guy, otherwise Yawgmoth is just going to slam next turn and kill their Krinko, a War Boss. Jeez, I could actually just force them to block with Krinko by attacking with the Carrion Feeder. I could sack 5 creatures and just end the game. Alright. Cavern on Zombie. Oh, yeah. Derp. He's not a zombie. He is very much not a zombie. He's a human cleric. And this should be packing up the game. We're going to sack Gravecrawler. Cast Gravecrawler. Just so I have a sack target. I guess I probably should have done Stitcher's Supplier there. It would have been more correct, but yep, there's a Krinko. Then Carrion Feeder can just eat my board. I might be a little more conservative with this one. Just because I don't know one card in my opponent's hand. And now the Drolf's Messenger is lethal. Overall, though, pretty good. Yawgmoth also works really well with Gravecrawler, as long as you can pay for it. You end up just counteracting the Undying trigger. And that takes Gobos. Alright, well, Zombies moves up to a pretty heroic 3-1. We've already cashed out. This deck definitely has some legs to it. Again, like I saw it playing, and I'm just like, that actually is pretty fun. Like, it's kitchen table zombies, it's tribal, but with synergies. You're not just trying to lure it up, and you've got to take some pretty specific lines to try to set up whatever combo or end game you're setting up for. I mean, this is definitely becoming a replayable for me. We'd love to play. Ugh, I don't think we can keep this. That... Ugh. We're going to keep this and really, really pray and hope that we can find another land. Crypt Breaker is going to solve a lot of problems, but Silent Clearing is going to do a lot of damage to us. Just given my matchup lottery of late, I'm expecting this to be a burn deck. Wow. All right. Well, there are no lands there, so hopes are still achievable. Well, Wooded Foothills can mean Jund or Burn, or Valakut, or Ponza. This is looking like Valakut. Although, impressed to see this little guy making an appearance. It's decent ramp, it's a blocker, but it also requires you to have a land in hand. We're so good at this game. right, well, we have plans. Opponent not fetching is slightly odd. Oh, they put a fetch land in and this enters tapped. That makes sense. Snow covered. Does that mean anything? Anger of the gods. Well, we found another land. And then Carrion Feeder's going to sack and put these guys in the yard. He's not going to be big enough to survive, but our zombies are better in the yard because we have Unearth. That's a blowout, though. That hurts. That hurts a lot. Well, we didn't hit a good creature there. Godly Shrine tapped. Crypt Breaker. We can't activate the pay 2 discard because it's a tap ability, so leaving up Path for white in case opponent's doing something shenanigan-y. But it's looking like Valakut, and we're probably going to die in 2 turns. They did miss their land drop last turn, though, which is why I'm not a huge fan of this dude. Well, Relic turns off some of our grinding. So I can discard, but I won't be able to draw this turn, which means I'm probably just going to discard the path. I can always sack the Silent Clearing, but Yawgmoth is gone, so I don't have anything that I care about there. Alright, opponent found their land drop, means that we are running out of time. Alright, opponent's at 6, we're below 18. Super close to dead. And we got a Cavern. And a Godless Shrine. Well, we have them on a 5-turn clock, about to become a 2-turn clock. I guess we'll see if they have Scape Shift or not. Even if it's a Titan, it's so bad. There's Natural Valakut. And a Primetime. Primetime goes and gets a Valakut and a Mountain. The problem with this is they're going to get their Valakut and their Mountain. Oh, they got a Field of the Dead? Okay, so this is slightly spicy. And they're targeting Crypt Breaker. Alright. But if I path here, they just get a Mountain, and they'll end up getting a Zombie and a Lightning Bolt out of it. So there's no reason to keep the path around. Wayward Servant. Okay, so that actually could do something. Let's go ahead and Wayward Servant. We'll draw. Put that on Zombie. That's going to drain. Yep, land. So we're taking 9 from the land, triggered the Primeval Titan attack. So we have to block the zombie. I don't think we're coming back from this, though. We lost as soon as they had the Primetime in hand. Alright, so where are they shooting this? 6 up there. We're taking 12. I guess we're technically alive. I did that just so I can draw a card with Crypt Breaker. didn't play their land for turn. I don't know how I missed that. All right, so here, Thoughtseize, 100% coming in. Collective Brutality coming in so that we can take Scape Shift. Pithy Needle doesn't really do a whole lot unless they're on Kalani Heart Expedition. We need to take out some of our slower things. Yawgmoth just doesn't cut it. Path is horrible against them. Inquisition can take some of their early ramp, especially on the play, and I guess that's an Unearth. They have relics, so Disenchant might do something, but we did draw a little awkwardly. It's decks like this, though, that push out mid-range from the format, so I'm not expecting to see a lot of really good things to come out of this. We have a curve. We'll give it a shot. We aren't really fast enough to try to race the turn 4 combo deck. They just really get their inevitability fast, so I'd probably put this in like our 40-60% matchups. Like, it's not impossible to take it, but we have to have a pretty good draw. And last time around, they saw a relic, and we stumbled a bit. Searched for Tomorrow Suspended. I'm going to have to shock this in for next turn, so I'm just going to do it now. Going to 18 does speed up the clock against us fairly significantly, but I am going to lead on Wayward Servant here just so that I can try to gain some life back. Then next turn gets to be Collective Brutality, 2 mode, Drain, and Duress. Then cast the Gravecrawler from the yard. They won't run Blood Moon just because they have utility lands. 2 modes, Drain, Duress. Discard the Gravecrawler. Take Anger of the Gods. That's actually why we lost last game. I can't believe I forgot about the Anger of the Gods. And we just need to keep the clock up. So opponent has a Grazer. They were clearly trying to anger us last turn. They have a tap land and a Primetime. Is going up to 4 mana, 5 mana. Did you draw land? You did. It was a Valakut. Oh, Tide Hollow Sculler. You're just what I wanted to see. Let's take their Prime Time. They'll have to Summoner's Pact for the other one. And that at least slows them down a little bit. We get Undead Augur in case our stuff starts dying. And I'm going to keep Crypt Breaker back. It means we're only getting in for 2 here, but the 1 additional damage shouldn't matter, and I can actually tap these 3 new ones to draw a card. And if I find a Carrion Feeder, we're really close to winning. We actually might just win. Because we'll just Carrion Feeder, recast Gravecrawler 3 times with the trigger from this Wayward Servant on the stack. That's Drain for 3, attack in with everything that's left over. They do get a Prime Time here. It's probably going to be a Valakut and a Mountain. Could just be 2 mountains, but odds are it's a Valakut and a Mountain. They're going to shoot this guy down, get a Prime Time back. Oh, they went with Field of the Dead? I mean, it's getting them blockers. I guess that just gets to be a 1 of in the deck. They went for the Drainer. Yep, we draw. Oh, look at that. Such a beautiful card. That's pretty dang good too. Stitcher Supplier. Nothing of merit. I swing in with All of my 3/3s, my 3 creatures die. I draw multiple cards. It doesn't really benefit me at all. They have to pay their upkeep cost on Summoner's Pact. They make a landfall trigger, kill the Sculler. They don't have enough for a prime time, which means Geralf's Messenger is okay here. They did not make a landfall last turn, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Cast Summoner's Pact, gets prime time, puts prime time, gets lands. I draw off of Undead Augur. So yeah, they don't have a land in hand. I think that means I have to go for Tide Hollow Sculler here, just because they probably have something like an Anger. Well, Farsi could do it too. Let's go ahead and attack in with Gravecrawler. He can't block, it's a free attack. I guess Grazer's just going to block it. Okay, they want to kill it for me. I respect that. Alright, and another messenger. So we might be okay here. If they shoot down all my creatures, I might lose enough life that it's relevant, though. Summoner's Pact paid for. Rando card in hand. I need a sack outlet for this Geralf's Messenger. And that's Escape Shift. Alright, well, let's make sure they have enough mountains. They actually have a lot of mountains in play right now. They technically just need to get a Valakut and 3 new mountains. Looks like they're trying to figure out how many mountains they have. Odds are we're dead. I also didn't leave up any blocks, so we're dead to 2 and the primetime attack. Yeah, drawing there was greedy. We're basically dead, though. Short of opponent not having enough mountains, which you're always supposed to make them kill you because you never know how many mountains they naturally drew. But if they end up whiffing, they're only going to hit me for 10. Show me the triggers. Yep, they have 6. Or they have 5. Alright, well, let's go ahead and grab our treasure chest. Hostility and Riz. Riz is actually really good in Commander. He was moderately expensive in paper. Probably not so much on Magic Online. But, alright, well, kind of lackluster treasure chest. Orzhov Zombies. This deck is actually a lot of fun. It suffers from the usual problems of a modern deck, though, which is it's a little too slow for burn, it's a little too slow for Tron. The big mana decks like Tron and Valakut just eat it for breakfast. Then you run into some of the problems with board clears. So I don't know why Blue-White's been leaning away from Terminus. I know when Brad One was doing his Blue-White video, we were talking about it. I'm just like, I love Terminus. People care about their graveyards. If you kill a Phoenix, it's going to hit you next turn. If you end up killing a Hogak, it's going to hit you next... Well, it's going to come into play next turn. The Vengevines will hit you next turn. I don't know why they're moving away from Terminus. It's just such a good card. Putting cards back into the deck is just so relevant. But this deck has not a ton of graveyard recursion, but enough to make it count. So if your opponent's trying to heat out the fact that you can recast Gravecrawler, you can typically just get the beatdown. We got the beatdown a couple of games. If your opponent ends up going a little bit longer, like when we were playing against Fluffy Wolf and his Bant Good Stuff, we just had the ability to get our combo running and just go all out. We had the backup plan of Yawgmoth and the Geralf's Messengers and the Goblin deck. The numbers are not firm. Again, if you want to check out more of this deck, I know not everybody's a huge fan of him, but Jeff Hoogland has two videos on this, both the original Mono Black Zombies list that was a viewer submission, and then the tuned Black White Zombies. They actually did tuning at the end of this video, and they talked about like what to do with the mana base and all that. I kind of did my own thing, but we showed that we had strength against a lot of things. We lost against the oh my gosh, where did it go? I lost against the Phoenix deck. It was just fast. They comboed off. More interaction would have helped us there. And we lost to Valakut, and we needed more speed. There's definitely a balancing act, and especially if you're playing in a local meta, that can definitely work. I did like this deck, though. I could see it as a play again in the near future, or potentially if we get a new card. Zombies isn't nearly as popular as humans, but we're going to get more zombie cards in the future. So definitely a consideration. It is moderately budget. When I say moderately budget, it is coming up at $712 in paper. The problem with that, though, is the fact that it's the Caverns, the Leyline of the Voids, the Lily Last Hopes, the Collective Brutalities. If you're trying to play on a budget, you can definitely downgrade those. Things like Relic or Tormod's Crypt are playable as Graveyard Hate. They're not ideal, but like if you're making the budget consideration, it's definitely there. Liliana the Veil we brought in a couple of times. It snagged Persist Kitchen Finks. I think that was the best we got out of it. Plague Engineer would also work there. I understand it's not budget, but it would have actually stopped the Grim Lavamancers and all the shenanigan-y stuff like that when we played against Burn. I did like the Settle the Wreckage. That is my... It's a one-sided board clear at instant speed, so I'm going to lean in favor of that. It looks very suspect when you leave that much mana up, but if you have Crypt Breakers and stuff on the board that looks like you're trying to abuse state-based effects, it's pretty easy blowout. I'm not sure if I have much else to say about this. If you have any suggestions, feel free to post in the comments. Again, I'm probably going to be revisiting this, so if you're aware of something that I missed, by all means post it. Happy to check it out. Anyways, I am thirteene. I do a bunch of fun decks for Squirrel Dealer. If you have something cool you'd like me to look at, or if you want me to have help you budget tune something, feel free to send it to decks@squirreldealer.com with exactly what you're looking for. We also post a lot of videos. We've been going for a little over 6 months at this point. Feel free to check out our YouTube channel for a history of all of our decks. So just search for Squirrel Dealer. We'll pop up. If you do like our decks, I play Sunday, Monday, Wednesday. Brad One plays Tuesday, Thursday. The Squirrel Dealer staff account's always going to be hosting, so you can figure out who's playing that night. And then if you would like to reach out to us, we have our handles there. I'm happy to respond on Reddit. We will get notified about Twitter, just not as active on it yet. We should probably start working on that, but lot to do. But anyways, I am thirteene. Thank you for checking out the content. Orzhov Zombies was a pretty fun one tonight, and Brad One should be up tomorrow night with a more competitive deck. I play a little bit more of the fun things, and thanks for hanging out. We will see you later.